Charges were attempted to be filed against Don Lemon, the former CNN personality, but the DOJ blocked by a Minnesota magistrate judge. Today we'll tell you why the mainstream, lamestream, going extinct dinosaur media just might be in overdrive for the next few days. But wait, because this celebration they're going to have might not last so long after all. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel where we cover the breaking news as it's happening. And we have it today for you. Don Lemon really, charged into a church, caused all kinds of chaos. That's the allegation. And the DOJ with Attorney General Pam Bondi working hard to get him behind bars. But the celebrity somehow managing to squeak away using the Minnesota legal system against the DOJ. Today we'll tell you what the details are and why it might not be time for a ticker tape parade. Click the like button, drop a comment down below. And folks, let's get on with it. It's the news you need to know. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Don Lemon is saved for the day. Boy, we are on it. We are on it right now. CBS News has this one. Magistrate judge rejects charges against Don Lemon over anti-ICE protest in Minnesota church. This is by Camilo Montoya Galvez, Jennifer Jacobs, and Sarah Lynch. It says a Minnesota federal magistrate judge refused to sign a complaint charging independent journalist Don Lemon in connection with a protest inside a church in St. Paul on Sunday. Multiple sources familiar with the proceedings told CBS News. The Attorney General is enraged at the magistrate's decision, said a source familiar with the matter. Attorney General Pam Bondi has been in Minnesota for 2 days as the Justice Department has sought to surge prosecutorial and law enforcement resources there. A different source stressed that the process is not over and the Justice Department could find other avenues to charge Lemon. Okay, so the DOJ has done their best to get Don Lemon arrested, charged, and they don't care about the celebrity stuff. And what we're finding out is that Minnesota is fighting them tooth and nail to protect Don Lemon and keep him out of jail. Remember, this is him down here in the protest. We'll play it one more time, folks.
This is the beginning of what's going to happen here. When you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street, you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution. When you start doing all of that, people get upset and angry. And if you remember,
so he can do that. He can go in there. He can do all kinds of crazy stuff. And Minnesota, the state, is going to protect Don Lemon from the DOJ. Now, I am, I don't know what the DOJ's next steps are, but it's clear they want him charged and arrested. Wizard Culture, I know you guys are passionate about this. I'd like to get your thoughts on it. It's breaking. We're covering this just as it's happening. Your thoughts on Don Lemon so far being off the hook. Maybe this at least calms down the media, do you think? Or do they go into, no, they don't. They go into overdrive over this.
Of course they do, because now they feel like they don't have any accountability. They're never held accountable, which was the larger part of the conversation I wanted to have with Ron, but obviously he was short on time. I'll just say this. I think that Lemonhead represents the very worst of journalism, which is why he even got fired from CNN, which is the bargain basement, outlet that nobody pays attention to. Between them and PS Now, or nobody cares, or PMS Now, or whatever it is. And honestly, I mean, this is the most recognition this man has had in a long time, and he was going to try to farm it for what it's worth. It might have been better had he actually been charged for him, but it would be better for all of humanity if he were actually charged with the crime and found guilty of the crime of restricting people's rights. So, because he's a part of that.
Yeah, looking at this, there's a lot of people on the internet who have this belief, and they talk about this belief that nothing ever happens. This is that once again playing out, where it feels like, and you could bring on, we could bring on lawyers, we could bring on people or politicians even that could say XYZ is happening. This is happening over here. Look over here. This tiny thing is happening. But then we have situations like this where we have Don Lemon is at a church where there's this big riot that breaks out. I have a lot of questions, and maybe there are answers that I just don't have yet, but how did he know to be there at this time? Why were they all there originally? Is there any evidence that this was pre-planned and pre-coordinated. And if there are other charges being brought up, clearly he knew something. Clearly it becomes pretty evident that there was something involved here, that this big riot broke out. And that's not good. And so for the people that have the belief that nothing ever happens, this plays immediately into that. Here's somebody who, even though he was let go from CNN and he's got all the baggage, here's somebody again who's untouchable and he could get away with everything. And I don't think this looks good for the Trump administration. Obviously, we're still early on, right? We're still early on. There's still things can change. Anything can change. But this doesn't look good for Trump. This doesn't look good for Pam Bondi. And it doesn't look good for any kind of justice being done. Because now you've got Don Lemon is the biggest name attached to this riot that took place in this church. And we're finding out just a couple days later, oh, yeah, there's no charges being brought up on Don Lemon. Really? Right. Can you blame the American people for not wanting more answers? Because I can't.
Right. Well, it feels like if one side wants people arrested, they'll arrest the president. And it feels like the other side, if they want a washed up loser journalist, who's just a moron ranting and raving inside a church, they can't get him arrested. So let's go to this clip. This is Don Lemon. This is from a couple of days ago. This is him talking about the efforts for him to be arrested and his thoughts on it. This is Don Lemon.
Administration and the fake news magas are losing their mind over something that's not even true. So let me just make it clear, because this assistant attorney general, I don't know, what's her name? Something Hammett.
He's talking about Harmeet Dillon. Harmeet Dillon, of course, partner with Ron Coleman, who's been on the channel and was just before.
Dillon or whatever. So I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were there chronicling.
There's video showing that he likely did know it.
Protests. Once the protest started in the church, we did an act of journalism, which was report on it and talk to the people who were involved, which included the pastor, members of the church, and members of the organization. That's it. It's called journalism. First Amendment, all that stuff. For all of you people who believe in the First Amendment, absolutist, there you go.
There you go. There's Don Lemon
defiant. That should all be brought up in court. That should all be brought up in court. That's where we should be hearing that, not on this video.
Yep. Well, that's Don Lemon. He seems to be pretty darn confident that he's going to get away with this. We'll see, folks. We'll see what happens with the DOJ. But, rules for thee, not for me. That's what's happening here. Guys, any final words on this one? This breaking news with Don Lemon. And I think, honestly, you're going to see the legacy media, CNN, msnow, they're going to use this. They're going to talk about how they've been vindicated, and this is going to make them even more wild. They're going to feel untethered, and they're going to take off. This is like when Jimmy Kimmel got brought back by Disney, and we said he's uncancelable, and he'll terrorize, the House of Mouse. He did, he is, and that's what's going to happen on cable news now, I believe. Guys, final thoughts.
Don Lemon will be emboldened. He will keep going, but you're also going to see some other independents be emboldened to keep going as well. This is a lose-lose situation.
Yep, I would say so too. It's a lose-lose for the administration, but it's also a lose-lose for everybody who wants communities to be safe and sane, and they want the news media to not be creating their own ratings by sowing chaos in the streets. Boy, what a loss, and who'd have thought? It just keeps raining in Minnesota. As ever, folks, we endeavor to have a good time here on the Pro Channel, and I have to say that spending time with you, talking about things that truly matter, like the stories that shape our lives and our culture, well, it is the ride of a lifetime to steal from Bob Iger. And that's the only thing we'll steal from Bob, because he has great security around his yacht. Folks, as we get ready to say goodbye, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, and stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment right on down below. Let us know your thoughts. We would love to hear from you. And folks, worry not, for more content is still on the way. 3 or 4 times a day. Let's do 4. I think that's better. And you know what? Don't forget that the Pro Show is live Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon Eastern. You can also join us for our friends on That Park Place, our partner program. We have a good time there too. Folks, until the next time we get the opportunity to have a good time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as ever, keep having fun.